we do start with that breaking news. Alexandra Cohen is on her way right now to the scene of that fatal fire that we talked about in Smith County.
Yeah, we want to show you a live view from our breaking news car. Alexandra driving to that scene. She has just stopped on Kyle Hollow Road in the Sykes community. Smith County Dispatch and Rescue says that at least one person was killed in this house fire. It's a rural area, and as soon as Alexandra can get some information for us, we will pass it along to you. All right, breaking news now. A driver opens fire on another car overnight in an apparent case of road rage.
Yeah, News Channel 5's Kimberly Davis working this one along I-24 in South Nashville. And Kimberly, one person was shot in this case.
Steve, good morning. Yes, one person was injured, but thankfully they are expected to be okay this morning, and it could have ended a lot worse than what it did. Not only did these two drivers put their own lives at risk, but they also put other drivers' lives at risk who were also traveling on that road. Now, police are telling us that the victims are telling officers that this all happened last night around 11:30. On I-24 East near Haywood Lane. We're told two passengers were in a Honda. One of the passengers inside that vehicle dropped their cell phone on the floor while they were searching around for that phone. We're told the driver swerved into another lane. After that driver swerved, another driver was in the lane behind them, and then that's when an argument ensued. We're told that argument quickly escalated, and that's when shots were fired. We're told the driver fired several shots at that Honda. One of those bullets struck one of the passengers in the left arm. That person was transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Thankfully, that victim is expected to be okay. We're told the Honda pulled over on the side of the road and stopped, but that 2016 white Nissan continued driving. Now police are looking to find that vehicle and the people who were inside with that gun. So far, the only word they have to go off of right now is the victims, because that's the only people they spoke with. No witnesses stopped and tried to help out. So if you saw what happened or know people who were involved in this, they're asking that you give them a call at 615-74-CRIME. For now, we are live in South Nashville. Kimberly Davis, News Channel 5.
Thanks, Kimberly. We're also following breaking news out of Goodlettsville, where we've just learned the driver accused of running over a pedestrian is now facing homicide charges. Matthew Torres live at the Criminal Justice Center following this for us. And this is an incident that it actually happened last week, right, Matthew?
Amy, in fact, we first reported about this incident, and that driver was already facing charges for vehicular assault and DUI for his third offense after this accident. But now, after that we've learned this morning, the pedestrian died recently due to a severe head trauma injury. That driver is now facing vehicular homicide charges. That suspect is James Owings, who remains here in Metro Jail this morning. Police say he was driving a van when he struck the pedestrian near the Rivergate Mall on Rivergate Parkway in Goodlettsville last Wednesday night. At first, that victim was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, but again, due to the extent of the injury to the head, that victim died. And according to Owings' affidavit, he just left a sports bar that night after drinking and got behind the wheel of his van. He said he heard a thump after going through a bump, not realizing that it was actually that man that he ran over. At this point, we don't know the victim's name, but that 44-year-old suspect, again, James Owings, is in jail being held on an $80,000 bond. Reporting live from the Criminal Justice Center, I'm Matthew Torres, News Channel 5.
All right, Matthew, thanks much. Happening right now, police working to identify and track down an armed robber. We've got some surveillance stills of the Hardys along Acorn Drive near Elm Hill Pike. Police tell us the gunman robbed the cashier Tuesday night. If you recognize the person, call investigators at 615-74-CRIME.
New developments in the Holly Bobo murder case. A judge has set a trial date for the three men accused of kidnapping and killing the 20-year-old nursing student. One of the suspects will go on trial April 3rd of next year, but it's not clear who. Zach Adams, his brother Dylan, and Jason Autry are charged in the case. Because of a motion to sever the cases, it's possible all three men will be tried separately.
Happening today, the Erin Andrews trial continues after days of emotional testimony from the well-known sportscaster and Dancing with the Stars co-host. The attention has shifted. It did yesterday when allegations came to light that one of the defendants in this lawsuit actually played the nude video of Erin Andrews while he was out having dinner with friends recently. The man at the center of that controversy is this guy, Neil Peskind, who represents the former owner of the Nashville Marriott. Andrews is suing the group for $75 million for allowing her stalker to book a hotel room right next to hers. In a statement yesterday, Peskind said, in part, quote, "I was at a private dinner meeting with friends. They brought up the allegations and they started viewing the video. I asked them to stop, and while they did so, it was not as quickly as I had hoped. I would never disrespect Ms. Andrews and what she has been through. I sincerely apologize for my participation in what happened," end of quote. Now, the spotlight on this trial has brought a lot more attention to the issue of stalking. Lawmakers are now working on a couple of bills to keep this kind of thing from happening to others. We're going to look at those a little bit later in this half hour and outline what those mean.
And we now know the man accused of killing his nursing home roommate must have a mental evaluation before the case against him can move forward. The suspect, legally named the Reverend, is a self-proclaimed Satanist. In Scottsville, Kentucky, police there say he stabbed and strangled 71-year-old Gary Gluick after an argument last week. On social media, the 35-year-old credits himself with founding a genre of easy listening satanic music.
What?
He was appointed a public defender.
It's a startling stat. Williamson County has the second highest amount of teenage suicide in our state. So, to get that number down, Franklin police have started a new training initiative. The goal is to help train the officers in teenage crisis intervention. And the idea came from Franklin's police chief, Deborah Faulkner. She pored over the numbers and realized having a class is the best way to prepare her officers.
We need to know exactly what is the appropriate protocol, what are the best practices in dealing with that, so that we quickly get that person to the help that they need.
Right now, 16 Franklin officers are being trained, but the chief says she would eventually like all sworn personnel trained, including every new officer that joins the force.